What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Millionaire in the Making podcast, episode number 4. My name is Gage.
Justin.
What do you guys think? Already had, 3 in like a week? It's pretty quick work.
This is number 4, right?
Pretty quick work. And let us know what you think about the new studio. We just put this together in 3 hours, like yesterday?
Yeah, half an afternoon. Most of it was just the back end stuff.
But yeah, guys, we have a great episode planned for you today. It's going to be a lot of meat and potatoes into the struggles that people deal with on their come up, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle episode.
So yeah, I'll kick it to you, Justin. What do you want to start off with? What question you got for me, or you want me to ask you first? I'll let you run the show.
You know what? I'm going to ask you, what are you struggling with right now as a 21-year-old entrepreneur, just started on your come up, you're about a year into this. What are 2 or 3 things that you're struggling with right now? Because I guarantee you I've probably been through it twice.
It's a tough one.
Toast to that one.
I mean, not really a tough one. I know right off the top of my head. Time has been my number one just struggle overall at the moment, because as I'm taking on more projects, as I'm really just as an entrepreneur in its own, it's hard to, really overcome that hurdle of like managing your own shit. Like, because if you work for anybody else, right, it's almost like the military. You got to be here at this time, done at this time. But when I'm on my own, it's all on me. And then I also have to factor in the gym. I also have to factor in my family, girlfriend, whatever it may be. And it's just
friends.
Yeah, all of the above. So is there any kind of...
So you're kind of screwed on the time aspect because you're not getting any more of it. You're not getting any less of it. You get the same amount of time I do. What makes me cringe on the inside is when people say, I don't have the time to do something that improves their life. So they say, I don't have the time to go work out. I don't have the time to spend with my friends. I don't have the time to spend with my family. I'm working too hard. Or I don't have enough time to work. You have the exact same 24 hours everyone else does. The Rock's a perfect example. His calendar is booked out like 3 years in advance, like down to like 5-minute increments.
Yeah, I'm sure. I wouldn't doubt it.
My best fix for that, Google Calendar, Apple Calendar. You have a calendar app on your phone. Your phone is glued to your body almost, 18 hours a day. Use your Apple Calendar or Google Calendar. Write down what you're going to be doing almost every hour of the day. When you're going to eat, when you're going to work out, when you're going to socialize, when you're going to spend time with your family. You would be surprised how much more productive you are that you're not just shooting from the hip all day. And this is just something that'll spend you, it'll take you 5 minutes to do this. You can just sit down and say, what am I going to do for lunch? When am I going to lift? Who am I going to lift with? When am I going to work today? And when am I going to have an hour or two of just me time if you need that? And that's something that everyone can do. You used to walk around with like a calendar in your, purse or your backpack. Now you got one on your phone, and it'll send you alerts. It'll do everything down to drive time. I know when I'm going to get somewhere. My calendar is so organized that it's going to tell me how much traffic there's going to be to get to my meeting on time. So there's literally no excuses nowadays to be late.
So you're just getting a little bing, eating in 15, gym 20 minutes?
Yeah. Or traffic it's a 24-minute drive, 25-minute drive. That way I can procrastinate to the last minute. And Apple and Google does all the work to factor in my schedule for me.
Well, damn. That's some good advice. I never really thought about it like that, because if I was to, plan out my day, I would just strictly plan out business stuff. Okay, meeting here, call here, but I would never think to plan out gym, family. I would never think to put that on a calendar and actually plan that out. Yeah,
Diet.
Everything.
I really started emphasizing that when I was trying to gain weight, and I was having to eat 6 to 8 meals a day, minimum, like full meals. I was like, I don't have the time to eat right now. And then I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to eat while I'm doing cold calls. I'm going to eat while driving. Wouldn't recommend that, unless you know what you're doing. I had a Tesla at the time, so it drove for me. But when is some free times that I can just scarf down this food and get to the next project? I mean, eating became a full-time job for me at one point in my life. Jesus. I mean, it got up to where I was eating 8+ meals a day. So I had to get organized quick while running my companies. But there's no excuse. There's literally no excuses.
Yeah, so on the flip side of that, while we're talking about time, how did you overcome, because I'm having to jump through the same hurdle right now, how did you overcome the hurdle of having to tell people to F off because your time is that valuable?
I'm the worst at that. If somebody asks me to do something, I'm going to go out of my way to do it. I'm just a people pleaser.
And then you're screwed on the back end.
I'm horrible. I'm just going to get shit done. Even if it costs me a little bit, I'm still just going to get shit done. I'll make time. That is one of my hardest things to do, is to say no to people. That is a struggle that I've had my whole life. If one of my friends calls me and says, hey, you want to go grab dinner? You want to go work out? You want to come to this event? it's so hard for me to say no because I feel like it's almost like an act of disrespect. When I invite people to do things, I almost take it personally if it's something that would better both of us and they say no for no reason. So if I can do it, I would feel almost like I'm disrespecting my friends at that point. But if for me to say no, I have to absolutely be just packed every minute throughout the day. So I struggle with that myself personally. But I've done a good job building a life where people don't invite me to stupid things. So my friend's either going to say, hey, you want to lift? I'll be like, no, I'm already lifting with someone today. You can either join or we can do it tomorrow. So I'll be able to satisfy their needs pretty much.
That's pretty respectable.
So anytime somebody invites me to do something, I try my best to do it, or I try to reschedule for another time. I don't just leave it closed. Like, no, I don't want to come. I'd be like, no, let's not do this today. So you can always just reschedule. Like, if somebody hits you up and says, hey, let's do dinner tonight. I might already have plans tonight. Let's do it tomorrow night. Or what if I have 2 or 3 friends invite me on the same night? What if we just do a group event? Like, there's always a way for everybody to win. Like, you can't just keep saying no to your friends over and over again. Eventually, they're going to stop inviting you.
See, that's what you don't hear the gurus say that. They're like, hey, screw your friends. Your time is the number one thing in the world. It's the most important thing. Tell them to F off. You don't hear what you're saying very often. So I think that is a very...
Good friends. You got to have good friends. You got to have really good friends. I know that if any of my friends invite me out to eat, the positive conversations are going to outweigh almost anything that I do tonight. So pick good friends. Pick good friends.
I think you're at a different level than me because you've already established the income and you're not in a headspace of like, I got to figure this the fuck out. I'm in the headspace of like, look, if I have to sacrifice some friendships right now to give myself more time to figure this the hell out so I can, provide for those friends later on, maybe. But I think we're just at different places to where I can't just give up my time in that aspect.
We're probably going to dive deeper into that later into the podcast, but I got a fix for that.
Okay.
But even when I first started out, I did just a cleanse of pretty much all my bad friends. So the people that were hitting me up were quality people that I do want to spend time with because they're going to help elevate me in life. So you want to have a social circle that you don't want to blow them off because it's going to be wasted opportunities. Like right now, I know if any of my friends invite me out to dinner or a charity event or a networking event, it's going to better me to go there for the people that I meet, the positive conversations, and just to further nurture our relationship. So the fix for that is don't have friends that waste your time, because I promise you that if I went out to dinner with 4 or 5 of my closest friends right now, the conversations we have is probably going to make us $5,000 to $10,000 each just from those conversations. Like tonight, when we went to dinner, I guarantee you the 2 friends that I went with are going to make an extra $10,000 to $20,000 this year just from the conversations we had. Just from short little ideas that might blossom into something. Yeah. I mean, we planned our entire next Saturday night tonight for whenever we go to Seville and everything else. But you'll see the videos for that one.
It's a bit different than what my friends are talking about. So maybe I need to shake up my circle. It's an interesting thing about.
So your time, you're kind of screwed. You have the same time that I do. You just need to focus and make the most of it. You might have the same 24 hours, but we might spend them differently. My brain is working from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. And then I'm going to wake up 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night. I'm still going to get shit done until I can go back to sleep. My gears are always turning. It's almost exhausting, but I'm always in attack mode.
Okay. Before we move on from time, I want to ask this question for myself and also the viewers because I think this will greatly benefit them. So let's flash back to, because this will give great insight. Let's flash back to Justin when you were in the start of your grind, when you were putting in, I'm sure, over 40-hour work weeks. How did you, whatever you were putting in, you could say it in a second.
40 is a part-time job.
How did you manage life? Because you're young, right? These are your glory years. These are years you're never going to get back being at such a young age with all these things that we can do when we're young. How did you manage, balance that? Wanting to, become as successful as you have became, but wanting get all your dreams, all that stuff. How did you manage the work life? I guess work-life balance.
When I first started, so 18 to 21 was my grind season. I was putting in an 80-hour week would have been a slow leak for me. I would have, if I only did 80 hours, I would have felt 100% rested, on top of my game. I mean, when I tell you it was 18 plus hour days, from start to finish, I was grinding. And this isn't like I'm sitting around on the clock grinding. This is me building my own company, grinding, like picking up the phone, 200 to 500 cold calls a day, running signs around, doing open houses. I was in real estate, so I was a real estate agent. Learning. Every time I was driving, I was listening to podcasts. If I wasn't on the phone trying to sell condos or, get listings, I had a Grant Cardone podcast in my ear. If I was eating, I was either at lunch with a client, a mentor. Every minute of my day was spent towards bettering myself. But I didn't know what was bettering me or not, because in real estate, it takes 6+ months for you to really get the results. So I just said, what's working with this guy? What's working for this guy? What's working for this person? What's working for this person? I'm just going to do everything that everybody tells me until something works. And after about 6 months, everything just started working. I started getting results just over and over and over again. But the first 6 months of my journey sucked because I was getting no traction. But everyone around me said, don't stop, don't quit, don't quit. And every 6 months after that, the compound effect just started growing.
Oh, yeah. See, this is flowing perfectly because that goes into my next problem, delayed gratification. How did you deal with delayed gratification? And give some tidbits of knowledge to them, because I think that's a big deal in today's day and age, because you think everything's just going to come. Like, you see all the social media, you think it's just going to come in a day, the next day. Like, it's just get rich quick schemes are all over the place. How do you deal with delayed gratification? Because that's the only way that I see the actual wealthy become successful, is over an extended period of time, not just in 10 days you buy this stock, you're rich. It's like, no, it's a delayed gratification thing. How do you deal with that? How did you put yourself in the headspace to be like, I need to buckle down and it's going to take a while?
I have an infatigable personality. It means I'm going to keep trying until I win. Like 99 no's and 1 yes is still a win in my book. No matter what, I was going to keep trying because I was blowing through my savings. It had to work for me. It was either go get rich or die trying. Like, I was going to go broke and keep digging myself a hole, or I was just going to keep grinding. I knew that one day, everyone around me said, don't give up. And these are very, very wealthy, smart people. And I just took their advice. I wanted the quick money. I wanted the get rich quick thing, but quick results lead to slow problems later down the road.
Crypto?
Yeah. I know that more than anybody. The quick money will burn you for a very long period of time. When you get used to making quick, like real quick money, it's almost like a high, almost. You're like, okay, dope. There was a moment where I remember when the Luna crash happened, I put in a short, like it was like the next day after it crashed again. It was like $105,000 I made in like less than 5 minutes. It crashed. It crashed. It was like 20% almost instantly, and I was on a 3x short. And it was like $120,000 in the position. So it was like it was like a 60-70% gain, just like in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's sick.
But a couple weeks later, I took a $250,000 loss in less than a day. So that mindset is dangerous.
It's like the lottery ticket dilemma, right? Lottery winner dilemma.
Most people who get quick money blow it quick too.
So does it also hold true that, like, it's one thing to make the money, but it's another thing to keep it?
100%, especially in the crypto world, because it's just so volatile and it might not even be your fault. That's why crypto probably isn't the best example. You could have a flash crash. You could be on like margin, and you couldn't even be on high margin. You could just still get wiped out.
Yep.
But I built my foundation on real estate where I knew I wasn't going to see results for 6 months. I might not get paid for 3 to 5 years. So I already had that foundation. If I would have started in crypto and made a quick come up, like I dumped like a couple $1,000s into a coin and it turned into $100,000, I know I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I probably would have not had the discipline to keep a hold of that money. I'm glad I put it into real estate because you can't touch that money. Once you buy a property, you can't pull money out of that easily.
I mean, real estate's what, the number one delayed gratification
Pretty
money-making thing besides, I mean, maybe Airbnb these days, but...
I didn't learn how to borrow against my property until about 2 years ago. So I didn't think real estate was liquid at all until I sat down with a lender and they're like, yeah, you can borrow against your equity. And then my head started just kind of like, my gears started turning. I was like, I can borrow against one property to buy another one, or I can borrow against a property and put it all into crypto.
maybe not.
Don't recommend that. But be very, very aware that quick money causes slow problems. You can't plant a seed and force it to grow overnight. You might plant 100 seeds and there might be 5 trees that grow. One tree might produce fruit, but it's going to pay you for life. You're going to have fruit for life. You can quote that one.
Clip that. Clip that.
That.
That's a good mindset.
Does that answer your problem?
I think so. It's a good mindset to have. I'm in the dilemma. Not the dilemma. I'm in the odd spot to where I know, as sickening as it sounds and as humble as I can say it, like I know by any means necessary, I'm going to make this shit happen. Mm-hmm. So delayed gratification tomorrow, doesn't matter. I know it's coming, but that's just, I don't think that's a conceited thing to say. I just think it's like confidence. I know that it's going to happen. So I'm not in that dilemma as such, but I think a lot of people do struggle with the delayed gratification and like the get rich quick stuff that you see all over the place.
You said the other day you wrote a contract to yourself. So if you write a contract to yourself and say you're going to make it work,
it's going to happen.
You're going to make yourself a liar.
It's going to happen, man.
So think of it as just planting seeds. Planting seeds in people, my friends. I plant seeds in all of my friends' ideas to grow, for them to make more money, to be happier, to be better socially, have a better family life. I'm planting a seed in them, and I'm constantly watering it. I'm keeping them like in check, accountable. I'll tell them, hey, how's your gym progress going? Are you reading? How's your diet? How much water are you drinking? Small things that I know is just going to set really healthy habits.
Okay.
Just compound.
Can we reel that in? Because that's another problem that I'm kind of struggling with, my friend group. Mm-hmm. I mean, I love them all to death. Then they are all doing their own thing in their own way. But at the same time, I feel like my head's up here, and I'm saying there's over here. I'm not saying up or above. I'm just saying my head's right here. And I don't know anybody that's close to me in a sense of like, I can confide in and then really understand like, hey, I'm doing the entrepreneur thing too. I can just, go back and forth and really understand what I'm going through. And I can understand what they're going through. Like I have a couple friends who are on the higher level of thinking of like wanting to become great in every aspect of what they can. But I don't have any friends in my friend group that really understand, because it's hard to, not many people make it as entrepreneurs.
Like 5 out of 100, if that.
Other than you, I don't have anybody besides my grandpa. He's like 75. So
I'm gonna fix that for you.
How did you fix that for yourself? Because I'm sure you went through the same thing, right?
Yeah, 100% did. And luckily, I met a couple of people throughout my journey, and I just clung on to them for dear life. I was like, you are walking the same path as me. We're not going to split. I'm not going to do anything to ruin this.
Well, can we rewind real quick? Were you lonely at my age, a little bit younger, like on the come up? Was it lonely?
Is that a problem you're having right now?
Semi, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you called me 4 or 5 months ago having that problem. Like, I just don't have I don't have many friends that are like on the same path as me. And I was like, I relate to that. And then I think that's whenever we talked a little bit more about starting a podcast. That one conversation
sparked
this entire thing. You asking for help. You asking me to come on your podcast the first time took you all of 30 seconds, and look what happened. And you asking for help just made me say, I can fix this problem. I've been there before. Give me 5 minutes, I'll fix that problem all the way.
Side note on that, it's one thing I'm starting to learn a lot is that it's okay to ask for help. Like as a man, it is hard, but it is okay to ask for help sometimes. Yeah. And one day I was like, enough's enough. Like I knew you would at least give me some kind of answer. I didn't know if you'd care or not, but I was like, yeah, bro, I need some help.
I'm gonna give you an answer. You might not like it. It might be hard, but I'm gonna give you the answer you deserve and need. It was a struggle for me. It really was, because when I was 18, all my friends were partying. All my friends were going off to college. All my friends were degenerates. When I was 18, I didn't have anybody that I could just call and talk business with. Most of my close personal friends, like my close circle, all went off into the military and left me with my friends that were just partying every night. So I had a couple of bad events happen, and I was just like, I'm so tired of hanging out with these kind of people. We're drinking every single night. We're raging. We're not moving forward. I know that if I keep doing this for a decade, my life is going to be shit forever. It's going to be really hard to correct that in my 40s, because I saw a bunch of people who were alcoholics in their 40s. They weren't positive sites. So I just decided to almost separate myself from everyone and went on a 6-month run where it was like, I'm going to get my real estate license. I'm going to watch 6 hours a day of Gary Vee Jim Rohn, Grant Cardone, everyone I can just think of. I couldn't find mentors in real life, so I just started finding digital ones. That's huge too. You
Yeah,
have
it
YouTube.
is.
You have YouTube now. There's no excuse.
Everything's at your fingertips.
People didn't have this 20 years ago. You had to go to a seminar, buy somebody's $1,000 course. Now you just type in Grant Cardone podcast. You have 1,000 of them plus. Gary V podcast. Any of these people, and you could have a wealth of information. Pick one person that you like, and just stick with them for 6 months. Say, here's the influencer, the mentor that I relate to the most. Our life matches. We have similar interest. Mine was Grant Cardone and Ty Lopez. Those are my two favorites. A lot of people hated on Ty Lopez at first. Now he's damn near close to being a billionaire, if not a billionaire. The man's about it. But Grant Cardone was the guy that I was just like, we live almost the exact same quality of life. I'm just going to digest everything that he posts. I'm going to take notes. And for 6 months, it was just Grant Cardone in my ear for 3+ hours a day, 4+ hours a day. Gary V for an hour, Ty Lopez for an hour, Jim Rohn for an hour. I just kept digesting these guys that were worth 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. I'm like, these guys are giving out all their game for free. For free.
Free game.
Yeah, free's affordable. I was 18. I didn't have that much money. So if you can't find any positive influences, Google, YouTube,
Millionaire the Making podcast.
Audible, us. I promise you, we'll steer you in the right direction. We're going to be those people you listen to.
Yeah.
An hour, 2 hours a day. We got you. So if you can't find them in real life, find them digitally. And then once you start acclimating, because if you listen to them for 6 months, you're going to be light years ahead of everybody else your age. The older mentors are going to see that and say, he's 18. He's got the mindset of a 25-year-old. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to him. You're 21. You have the mindset of somebody who's going to be 25, 30. Shit, I'm 27. I feel like I'm fucking 50 right now. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. But I just cram-packed years of knowledge into a month. Like, it was like, this guy has, an audiobook. It's going to take 7 hours to hear his life story. I'm going to put it on 2x speed. I'm going to listen to it in 3.5 hours. And I'm going to listen to it twice. Somebody else just took 7 hours to listen to this. I listened to it twice. I've got twice the information now. And I just started working faster, more efficiently. And eventually, I started just magnetizing better friends and better people.
Yeah, that's something that I'll definitely have to tackle here soon. It's just a hard hurdle to jump because it is emotional. It's your friends, right? So it's an emotional thing. But let me dissect one thing that you said in that little tangent. You said you went on a 6-month run. I feel the same. Do you feel like you go on runs?
Yeah, sprints.
Yeah, like it's like a 6 months run, and then 3 months is just like almost like a rut, or it's like off. You're just doing your own thing, and then you get motivation again, and it goes again. It's a weird. I just curious.
We're on a 6-month run right now, me and you, and then my entire friend group. I told them, I'm like, we got 6 months of grinding. Watch what happens.
Yeah, I've never thought about it like that, but like I do. Looking back after you said that, I was like, damn, it really is like runs. You go real hard and then chill for a minute.
There's a guy who preaches that heavily, where he's like, he's going to do a 6-month work cycle, and then he's going to take 6 months off. Or he's going to do 3 months, and then 3 months of monk mode.
Yeah, Gaji, Iman.
Yeah. He's a shark.
Yeah.
You already know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's one of the guys who pioneered, he's documented stuff from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So he documented when he started his agency. Shout out Iman. We'll get you on one day. But
oh man, that'd be a dream.
Yeah, man.
So what I like to do is I'll go on like a 6-month run and then a 3-month just degenerate bender where I'm just traveling. I'm not focused on work, but everything that I did in those 6 months are going to equate to 10 years, 20 years worth of work. That's going to pay me forever. So I have the opportunity to go and just piss off for 3 months. Yeah. And you just kind of need it. Like, I'll go to festivals, I'll go snowboarding, I'll go to Miami for a week. Like, I'll just enjoy life, because you can't just, I sprinted for 3 years straight when I was 18 to 21, and I was not okay mentally after that. Like, you just can't keep working 80 plus hours a week. When 80 is your minimum, and that's like your baseline, after a couple of years, you're mentally going to start slipping. Like, I mean, the panic attacks got horrible. I couldn't be around people socially without just freaking out. Like, it was just, I redlined myself so bad that I almost went insane from working. And I had to just take a couple of months off to just breathe.
Okay, we got to talk about that because that's something that I deal with that I've never told anybody.
Yeah.
Like, this shit, like me
Mm-hmm.
and the inside is not the same. Like, since
Yeah.
I've been working a lot more and spending less hours of sleep and a lot more hours just like dealing with shit,
Mm-hmm.
like that anxiety has been at an all-time high, and I've never felt this in my life.
The beautiful part about being a man is you got to shut up and deal with it.
But you're saying that when you started working a lot, it kind of flared up.
So that's my gauge in life. I had this issue probably about 3 weeks, a month ago. I was working so hard that just socially getting my house built, dealing with refinances. Like, I mean, I had to like pull out $1 million worth of refinances in less than like 15, 20 days. And I was just like, how the fuck do I do this? And I just had to figure it out. Had a relationship go south. A girl that I thought was a positive influence was a very, very evil person. So everything in life just started crumbling, and just the weight was just almost overwhelming. My friends were having issues. I was trying to fix everybody else's problem. I was having family issues, personal financial issues. Everything was just not going good. Or let me rephrase this. I had a lot of stuff going very, very good, a lot of stuff going very, very bad. It was like a roller coaster every day. Like, how's today going to go? I mean, it was to the point where like something traumatic could happen. Like, I had $200,000 stolen from me.
Dude, you had a guy die in your Airbnb.
Oh, yeah, that was the thing. And whenever they said that, I was just like, okay, cool, whatever. It's just another day.
Yeah, I walked into his house. He's like, yeah, dude, somebody died in my Airbnb. I was like, are you okay?
I had much bigger problems at the time. I mean, like, somebody stole $200,000 from me, and I was just like, okay, cool, I'll deal with that tomorrow, whatever. I mean, I had so many things going on that I was almost just overstimulated. I had like adrenaline fatigue. But I work myself, I redline myself so hard and get so much stuff done because I know I can just cram pack it into a short amount of time, and I'm going to get like 20 years worth of results. So what I did was I wrote down everything that was going good in my life and everything that was going bad. What was, I think, causing me anxiety, what was causing me happiness, who did I bring into my life when the anxiety started, who was I not spending time with. I just started dissecting my life on how things made me feel at the time. So I decided I'm going to remove toxic women from my life. I'm going to fix my money problem. I'm going to fix my, I had a crazy ex-girlfriend problem at the time. I mean, she was stalking me and my friends. Like, it was a bad scenario. Like, it started getting kind of dangerous for a minute. I just started saying, what are the actions I can take to fix every problem in my life right now? And within 48 hours, fixed.
Really?
Quick. I was like, I'm going to fix these problems quick. And within a week, fix my finances. I was like, I know what the problems are right now. I'm going to fix them. I'm not going to stop till I fix them. Anxiety has been not a thing since then. I was like, I'm going to stop overworking myself in real estate. I'm going to apply that energy towards another path, social media now. I just kind of shifted my grind a little bit. And I started spending more time, quality time with my close circle. And I started spending less time trying to grow my circle. So I was like, okay, I've got about 15, 16, 17, 18 people now in this almost super group. We've got plenty of people. I don't need to be recruiting anymore. It's time for me to start taking action, social media. I need to start developing plans to get our social media on point, get my gym on point, to get these toxic women out of my life, toxic friends out of my life. I just did everything I could to address every problem with a quickness. I was like, I'm just going to tackle all these problems and then move on with my life. A lot of people are like, oh, I got this problem. I got a drinking problem. I've got this. One of my friends is bad. One of my, relationships is bad. I said, nope, this is not going to be a problem after 48 hours. Everything that I do, I'm going to start taking action on every single step that's bad.
Okay, so if you were telling the viewers, you would just say, evaluate your situation and then shift accordingly.
Write it down. Write up, like, what do they do this in, like, elementary school, a pros and cons list? What is the pros in your life? What are the cons in your life? Fix them. If it's a liability, get rid of it.
It's as simple as it gets then.
Like, really, like, you don't have to overcomplicate it. If you have a friend that's doing bad things, you can give them one chance and say, here's what you're doing bad. It's affecting me negatively. If you don't fix it, I'm going to take that as a sign of disrespect. And I've had talks like that over and over again. And they're either going to wake up for you being a good friend saying, you know what, you're right, let me fix that. And I've been on both ends of that conversation. If they don't fix themselves and realize that they're affecting other people around them negatively, they're probably a selfish friend, subconsciously or consciously. Like if any of my friends say, you have a problem and it's affecting me negatively, it's almost like a slap in the face to me. Reality just slaps me. I'm like, thank you for saying that. You will not have to have this conversation with me again. And it's done. And that's why, like, all of my friends keep me, like, they hold me accountable. I'm almost like, I've gotten into this argument before with women where they're like, you know, you're like the alpha of the group. I hate the word fucking alpha. People overuse the shit out of it. Now Sigma's a word.
Sigma's the new word.
Now, like, I guess like the more comfortable word is like group leader, I guess. That's the trending one. But I've gotten in several arguments where they're just like, you know, your friends don't keep you accountable because they all follow you. I'm just like, no, they look up to me, depend on me, they rely on me because I don't do bad shit. I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to hit the gym 4 times a week. I'm going to work harder than everybody else. I'm going to lead by example. I'm not going to be doing bad things behind closed doors. I'm going to have the exact same conversation with someone else as I expect to have with myself.
I mean, I hear what you're saying in that aspect, but I kind of disagree. Because, like,
Really?
if I was putting myself in your shoes, or just say I'm walking in my shoes, right? I'm walking my path, and I'm talking to my friends, and I see them doing some shit that I think's not right, and I think they could benefit doing it another way. I'll dish it out to them. But I also know, and I'm, you know, confident enough to say that I fuck up in areas too, and I'm sure you do too. And yeah. I would value my friends dishing it back at me, but hey, bro.
Oh no, they definitely do. They call me out. No, they'll call me out, but the thing is, I'm not going to let it go in one ear, not the other. I'm going to say I'm going to fix this. You're never going to have this conversation with me again.
Okay, yeah. That's another thing that I do struggle with as well, because it just comes into the friend group again. I don't have the friends that are being like, yo, bro, you need to fix that.
I'm going to check the shit out of you.
That's what I need.
Yeah, you'll know. Every one of my friends will check the shit out of you.
Okay, good.
If you do something bad or you act sloppy drunk or like something happens, they'll
sloppy
say,
drunk, man.
They'll say, don't do that again. First and last warning.
Yeah, you won't have to worry about that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, just for example, I don't know. Like, if you haven't given me any red flags yet, I don't think you will. You're just not that kind of a person. So, I mean, I know what my problems are in life, and I actively try to fix them, become the highest and best version of myself. Self-improvement is huge for me. So if any of my friends say, look, you're partying maybe a little bit too hard, or you're working a little bit too hard, or et cetera, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to fix that. You don't have to worry about having this conversation again. So I hold myself accountable as, you know, I don't like to consider myself group leader, alpha, or anything like that, but I like to lead by example. Whether I am at the head of the pack or at the back of the pack, I'm going to be the highest and best version of myself, because a rising tide lifts all ships.
Oh, clip that.
Yeah.
Clip that. Rising tide lifts all ships. I like that one.
And the good thing about, like, I mean, everything has like a pecking order in life. Men are really good about falling in line. Men know where they're at in life. Men know when somebody else is ahead. Men know when somebody else is stronger, faster, wiser, and they will 100% follow that person's guidance.
Do you think that is created by nature, or do you
Yes.
think that is created by societal, like,
Nature.
media? You think it's nature?
Look at wolves, for example. Nobody taught wolves how to hunt in a pack. Nobody taught, you know, ants how to form a colony. This is just ingrained into you biologically, just through, you know, years and years of your ancestors dying or living.
Okay, I can see what you're saying there.
You know, there used to be,
sense.
There's one chief. There's a lot of Indians. There's one chief, though. It's been that way.
Since
There's
the
one
beginning of
president.
time. Yeah.
There's one CEO. There's one general. Why does this keep happening across the globe? It's not a society thing. I mean, there used to be a time where humans couldn't even speak. They had to, like, do sign language and shit.
It's probably still one leader.
How did they fall into order?
Yep.
The guy who's the biggest, the guy who could gather the most resources, he was the leader. It's been that way for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It's like that in the animal world too. I mean, nowadays it's a little less dumbed down. Now it's an intelligence thing rather than a physical thing. He used to be the biggest person, pretty much was the winner. He was the strongest. Now it's who's the smartest and who's the quickest, especially in the business world.
Yeah.
You need to
Depends on the realm.
You need to be smart and quick. You know, you could be just as smart as your competitor, but you need to be faster. Launch your product first. Post your video first. You need to be the first one. You need to be quick. Nowadays, you don't have to be the biggest, baddest person in the room. You just need to move the most efficiently, quickly, get shit done quicker.
Yep. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you on any of those. I see it.
Hard truth.
Yep, I see that. Where else where do you want to pivot from here? I've
So
been
we touched
dishing
on
back at
your friend group. Let's dive deeper a little bit into that one. How do you think you can fix that problem right now? So you know that you're 21 and you're probably at the mental level of a 25 to 30-year-old.
See, that's the dilemma right there. I think it's solely based on age. I'm just at that weird age where everybody's in college and degenerate mode.
Mm-hmm.
And by nature, you make friends with people close to your age, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're the first person ever in my life to this day that I've made that's a friend that's older than me, like by 5+ years.
Gang. At
But
your service.
by doing that, I'm pretty sure this is probably what you're going to touch on. By making friends with older people, I don't know. I do feel like I am more intellectually able to have a conversation with you versus people that are closer to my age. Now, not to knock people that are closer to my age, because there are people out there like my business partner, and I do have a couple friends that I can banter back and forth with on certain things, but for the most part, I can't.
How many people you went to high school with that you still can talk to?
2.
Yeah, like same thing with me.
And if that, they're both busy as hell because they're on their shit.
Yeah, I've got from people that I grew up with, really less than 5.
Yeah.
If that. I've just had to find people along my journey and just start clinging onto them for dear life.
But see, you're older. You're 27, right?
Yeah.
So I'm still at that age. Everybody's still in college. So let me ask you this. Whenever the group, just people near my age get out of college, does it kind of change? Do those friends near you shift back into like, okay, I need to get on some shit? No?
Same people are still doing the same shit.
Interesting.
If they're not grinding at like 18, 19, 21, 22, if they're just pissing away their college years, they might, but they're probably going to piss away their adult life years too.
But statistically what? We're talking statistics here, right? 99% of people aren't going to be.
No, you need to be surrounded by the 1%, and the 1% aren't usually in college. Hard truth. The life that you're living, they don't teach in college.
Tough stuff.
You're going to be, when you're surrounded by people that are in college, it's just a whole different conversation. They think differently. They don't think like you. Most people who go to college don't start their own companies. They're going to be probably employees for a very long time. Not knocking it. Not everybody can run a business. Not everybody can be an entrepreneur. It's not built for everyone. I think it's a lot of it's genetic probably. Your IQ level has a ton to do with it. Not everybody can handle running a business like that. Some people just might not get it. Trying to be a bird that's trying to swim, trying to be a fish that's trying to fly, just might not work for you. Some people work better in a company than running the company. You could be an entrepreneur. That's a real thing. Who's it? Charlie Munger, is that the right one? There's Warren Buffett, and then his right-hand man who worked inside of Warren Buffett's company. Might be butchering that. Dude's worth like $50+ billion.
I think this is a valid point to kind of address the viewers and say,
yourself.
Check yourself, look in the mirror and really understand, are you built for this or are you built for this? Because you may thrive here, you may not thrive here. It's okay. Not everybody has to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody has to work for a company. Maybe you are an entrepreneur. I think you should really look in the mirror, evaluate yourself.
First off, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? It is exhausting. It is lonely. It is hard. It's going to suck for 5 years. Then it might be fun or it might fail. So why do you really want to be that person? And can you handle being that person? That is a better question, because you might be looking at the Lambos and the traveling and the jets, but what you're not looking at is the guy that has started his 4th company now and he's going on bankruptcy because just nothing's not working.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you want to see the stuff you want to see, or they want you to see.
Very carefully plan out your life. Like if you think you're going to just launch a company and you're going to be flying around in jets in a year, it's just probably not going to happen. Statistically, it's not going to happen. So there's nothing wrong with being, an employee. It's just, is that going to be a better life path? I know there's people who are making $250K plus a year being an employee.
Oh, 100%.
Happy as shit. There's people making
100%.
$75K a year, happy as shit. There's people making $30K a year, happy as shit. And I know entrepreneurs that are making $100K plus a year that are miserable. So nobody can tell you how to be happy in life. Nobody can tell you what your path is. You just have to make a good guess on where you're going to want to be in 5 years. What aligns with who you are as a person. I just know that clocking into a 40-hour-a-week job would make me miserable in 5 years. I just know that because it's going to make me miserable right now. It's just not for me. I'd rather do 90 hours a week on myself for half the money as a regular salary for 5 years to be able to be free the rest of my life than work a 9 to 5. I'll work a 9 to 9 before a 9 to 5.
So, all right, while we're on this topic and kind of helping out the viewers at the same time, just on this transparency, looking in the mirror thing, let me just get a quick, it can be a 1-minute breakdown. What are the key things that you felt within yourself at a young age that made you say, I got to figure this out on my own and not work for somebody else? Because you kind of did as a real estate agent, right? It's a little on the edge of working for yourself.
Yeah, you run your own show. Nobody tells you what to do. Nobody hands you leads. If you're a single agent, you are a business owner.
Okay, so what made you, at whatever age it was, want to do that? And just give me a quick one just for the viewers watching so they can kind of digest what you say, look in the mirror and be like, let me think about that for myself.
So when I was 18, I was trading my time for money, which means I just got to get more jobs. I got to work more hours. And I was making $10 an hour at this job. I was making, a server might make $15 to $30 an hour, plus or minus. I was moving furniture, making $10, $15 an hour, sanding floors for one of my guys that owns a floor remodeling company. I was doing a water moisture testing for Walmart where we drill floors open and put little testing kits in it. And I was making $1,000 a week doing that but I was gone for a week. I was just doing so many different things that involved two hands on the job all of my time.
Hourly wage.
And I was like, I'm doing 80 hours a week right now. I'm making good money. I have no free time, and I know I'm going to have to keep doing this. I was like, this is not going to work long term. Long term, I will not have a social life. My health is going downhill because I'm not in the gym consistently. I'm not eating regularly. I am just working, putting my hours in.
So for you, was it the boss thing or the time thing or the exponential growth?
It was the time thing for me mostly, and it was just the exponential growth. It was I'm going to be capped out making best case scenario $30 an hour and being miserable while doing it. I'm gonna suck it up and just get it done. I'm a whatever it takes kind of person. I just know that I did not want to be doing that in 10 years. So I kind of just sat down and I was like, in 10 years, how do I position my life in a way where I don't have to work? I have the option to work. I will work harder than anybody else in the room, but I want the option to do that. I want to be able to say, I'm going to take a week off and I'm going to go traveling. I'm still going to be working while traveling. There's always something to do. You're not going to catch me not moving forward in life. Even if I take 2 or 3 days off, I'm still on my phone, Airbnb, YouTube, audiobooks. It's so hard to turn it off.
I think everybody watching this would say the same thing. They want to be able to work while travel. They want to be able to work from anywhere in the world.
I wanted to position my life in a way where I could turn off the work, even if I never did.
What do you mean by that?
So right now, if I want to go travel for a month or two and I want to delegate everything to one of my assistants, I can do that. I couldn't do that at 18. I knew I wanted that luxury later in life.
Let you keep going. No, I know you got some more in the chamber.
That was how I visioned my life in 10 years at 18 years old. And here I am now doing that. But it only took me about 5 years to be able to do that successfully.
Okay. Well, hopefully you guys grab some of that. I just wanted, because I know he'd have a little bit to say there. I wanted you guys to hear what he had to say and kind of digest that and look in the mirror yourself and really think about where you want to go, because you don't have to go here just because this is what social media is glamorizing. You can go this way. Everybody's different. Everybody's going to do their own thing. So just really look in the mirror and be blunt with yourself. What are you good at? What do you want to actually do? I think that's one of the things people don't do often enough today, just because of social media and the societal norms that are put on the world at the moment.
That's another thing too. I got into real estate because I knew it fit the quality of life that I wanted to live. And I knew that I could work without it feeling like work. So think about what your passions are. What are your hobbies that you can monetize? If you're big into the gym, start personal training, start an online coaching business.
So you're a passion guy?
Yeah. A lot of people don't mix your passion with business, but it's you're going to be doing that anyway. You might as well make money off of it. Now, don't do it in a way that's going to ruin your taste for it. Don't just make it miserable for you. Do it in a fun way. Literally nowadays you can just work out, have a tripod, put your workouts, put some motivational quotes behind it, put some trending music. You know, you get to 250K and now you're getting ad revenue. You know, you can just have fun with it. You know, online coaching doesn't take that much of your actual time. There's so many things you can do that just makes quality of life better for you without that much work.
Crazy world we live in. You could become a fitness influencer next week. It's just crazy.
Yes. So, you know, if you love painting, take videos of you painting. Like, teach people how to paint. Just, you know, whenever you're going to paint, make a time lapse of it. Like, just, you're in the social media age right now. Almost anything can be monetized.
Speaking of monetization, what do you think about side hustles? This is just something that just randomly popped in my head. So are you...
It depends on the side hustle. Usually if you're multitasking, you're just fucking up more things at once.
That's what I want to get into. It's interesting to hear people's takes on this. So do you think that as someone, you know, putting all their effort into their main thing, is that something that they should do, or should they put effort into their main thing and then also have a side hustle? But I think this is like a 9-to-5 question. So if you're working on a 9-to-5...
You need a side hustle.
Yeah,
if you're 9-to-5, you need a side hustle.
But go ahead.
Your main hustle is the important one. You know, if you're doing 50-50 your main hustle and your side hustle, that's not a side hustle. Now you got two main hustles. Now you're going to be probably fucking up both things at once. I mean, I've always had side hustles, but they've usually hurt me more than they help me.
Yeah, interesting.
I diversify. So with real estate, everything I do is almost like a side hustle. My gym is a side hustle. My Airbnb is a side hustle.
Just builds out other businesses.
It just kind of like branches off, if that makes any sense. But
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Every time I've tried to just go off the beaten path from my career path, it's usually ended up costing me time, effort, energy, opportunity. I started a marketing company when I was like 21, 22. It probably cost me 6 figures in real estate.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Opportunity cost.
That's one thing I've noticed here lately is that it's honestly just better to keep your head down going on one thing. I'm literally noticing the same thing.
If it's working for you, why the hell would you want to stop your success? You know, if your main hustle is producing fruit, why do you want to go off and grow another, you know, possible tree that might mess up? Like, why do you want to put more effort and energy into something else that might not work?
Because you hear every millionaire has 7 streams of income. You hear stuff like that, right? So it makes you be like, damn, I got to figure something else out.
They had one solid source of income first. See, a lot of people, they're like, oh, dope, I'm going to have 7 companies at once. No, you're going to have just a bunch of hecticness, chaos in your life. Grow one company, master it, become a professional, delegate most of the work that's day to day. Once it's stable and it's like a child that can walk on its own, talk on its own, care for itself, then go start another company. I mean, starting a company is literally like growing a child, nurturing, raising a child. If you had a brand new company, it's an infant. You can't leave it by itself. You have to be bottle feeding it, nursing it, making sure it's not going to like fall off some furniture. A year later, it's finally up and able to walk. 2 years later, it's able to talk, have a conversation with you. You're 3 years invested in your company and you have a toddler. Are you going to let your toddler get behind the wheel and drive by itself? Hell no. It might take you 10 years for your kid to actually be somewhat self-reliant and where you can turn your back and make sure they're not just burning the house down. That one's deep. I like that one.
Yeah, that's a good take.
When you grow a company, it's like growing a kid.
That is a good take.
And you can definitely speed that process up. You can't speed a kid up.
It's easier to speed it up when you have money, but when you have no money, you're bootstrapping that. It takes a minute.
You have a toddler. You have an infant. Think about that the next time you're 1 year into a business and you're like, why is it not just paying all my bills on autopilot? Well, pop out a kid. See if you can leave it by itself in a year. See how that one goes.
See if it'll pay your bills too.
See if your kid will pay your bills after a year. You know, it'll take you like 10, 13 years for your kid to even start mowing your own lawn. So have a little bit more patience with it. It's not going to come overnight. Don't give up. Like, infatigability was one of my just greatest assets in life. People know I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep banging on your door till you say, yes, I'll buy your product. Until you tell me to absolutely just fuck all the way off and threaten to call the cops. You're going to hear me every day. Bang, 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 bang. Here's an opportunity for you. Same thing with every aspect of my life. I'm going to keep going.
While we're on this topic of, you know, indefatigability, whatever you say.
Infatigability.
Yeah, and
fatigability is you're going to get tired and you're just going to stop.
Yep.
Infatigability is the exact opposite.
And delayed gratification. I kind of wanted to save this for the end of the podcast because I know this is what the people want to hear. So we're going to make you stay till the end, obviously. But delayed gratification, and then I know that you'll be able to give a lot of insight onto this. So let me ask you the question of, do you think somebody utilizing Airbnb from the start could get to where you are now in half the time?
A third of the time.
You think a third of the time?
A third of the time. I had 5 properties that pulled in like 30 grand over the summer. Yeah. I had like 5 properties that pulled in like 30 grand over the summer.
Jesus.
I had 20 something rentals that was doing like 20, 25 long term.
And then 5 Airbnbs.
5
beat that
Airbnbs
out.
was beating that. And I was just like, why have I not been doing this?
Okay. This is what the people want to hear. We got to dive into this a little bit deeper. So Airbnb, how much does it take? So say you...
we're going to save the Airbnb for the next podcast.
You want to save it? It's a whole podcast
We're
itself.
what, 45 minutes into this?
Yeah.
Probably about an hour.
Should we cut this one off and make them wait till next week?
We're going to touch base. We're going to touch back on this one. I'm going to have a full Airbnb podcast.
I like
on
that.
The next one.
I like that, guys. Drop a like.
It's going to be another hour of this
you're
Airbnb
right.
talk.
You're right.
So I'll tell you what, if
let's go 100 likes. 100. We're starting. Let's do 200. Fuck.
let's get to at least 100 subs in the next week. Right now, what are we at? Like 30?
Yeah. When we hit 100 subscriber special.
Yeah. I'll really dive deep into my Airbnb.
Yeah, I'm struggling, guys. It's getting late.
And I'm going to start giving out more actual financial advice the more podcasts we get into this.
Yeah, we're just scratching the surface. We're just getting it started, figuring all the tech out and stuff. So,
and the reason why I want them to subscribe is we're going to be doing a lot more live streams with influential guests. I'm going to really start breaking it down. Like when we start live streaming, I'll bust out the whiteboard. I'll bust out the back
playbook.
The back end of the Airbnb. I'll stream my entire back office
you're gonna get it all.
Where it shows how much money I'm making, how much money is on the books, the messages that I get, the reviews. I'll bust everything down, but I'm not going to give that stuff away until we have a decent following list.
Oh, you guys are in for a treat. I'm literally about to start investing in Airbnbs, and I'm going to be asking him all these questions. Everything that you need to know, he's going to give it to you. So I would recommend you comment some questions down below for the next episode. What do you think about that? Start getting some comments,
Let's
and
get
then
some engagement.
We'll base the next episode off of one of these comments.
We're really going to start pushing this podcast a lot heavier now that we got the room set up and we've got everything somewhat in order. I mean, we're probably about 70% of the way there.
Oh yeah.
Now.
I mean, this just feels better than the first podcast. It feels a lot more like
it's a lot more efficient.
like how it should be.
No, we're probably about 30% more until we're a live streaming guest. Everything's pretty much ready to go. Give us another week or 2 weeks. We'll be, cranking
unrecognizable.
So as soon as we get a little bit more engagement, I will 100% break down my back office, the messages, every part of Airbnb, every question that you have. I built a 6-figure Airbnb business in less than 6 months.
Yep. Don't tell him anymore. We got to hold off.
I got to give him a little teaser. So
we'll hold off.
I think as of 2 days ago, I brought in $150,000 in 6 months with Airbnb. Got the screenshots and CSV files to prove it.
All right. Well, we're going to dive deep into that here in the next few episodes.
And I can show you all how to do it without actually buying properties, or how to buy your first property and turn that into multiple Airbnbs.
We're going to get into some arbitrage.
I like the idea of arbitrage.
Let's get into it.
But I also like the idea of buying your first home and it being a duplex, triplex, quadplex, Airbnb out 3 of the other units. Or I've got one that's easy to do.
We'll save it. Don't tell them yet.
Oh, no, I got one that's borderline evil.
Don't tell them.
It's just almost like free money.
Make them wait.
Yeah, we're going to do that next episode.
Yep, we got to cut this one, guys. The cams are about to cut off. So, outro, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And comments, we want the comments to be questions. What do you want to hear? What do you want to know about me, about Justin, about Airbnb, about anything? Comment down below, like, subscribe, and share. If you're a real one, share the podcast. A couple of our friends have shared. We really appreciate that.
The love and support that I've gotten from this is just absolutely amazing. We're surrounded by such positive, amazing people.
Yeah, it's been awesome. And we don't do this for us. This is totally for you guys. I mean, not that half of you even give a shit, but it's totally for motivation and inspiration, because the comments and the feedback that we get back, I mean, that's what makes my day.
My whole goal for this is I want to find the 1 out of 100 kid who has that sleeping giant in him, just like me, just like you. And I want to say, buy apartments, start an Airbnb business, launch an online company, And I want to give him that just spark. You know, I listened to a Grant Cardone podcast where he said, this is why I buy apartments. They pay me while I sleep. They're never going to be affected by any app. And I was just like, that was that one moment where my gears started turning. One podcast, one moment for free. Life-changing event for me.
Well, let's hope we find a lot more than 1 in 100. Let's hope we find like 10.
That's 10 out of
20.
1,000 right there.
Yeah. We'll find a lot of you guys.
Out of 1 million, that's a, you know, that's a good little bit. That's 1,000 out of 1 million.
I know you're watching, and I see all the comments, the DMs. I know we got some hungry dudes around here just trying to figure it out.
Good. All right. So next week, 100 followers. The week after that, we're going to be 500. The week after that, we're going to be at 1,000.
Oh yeah, we're gonna blow those out of the water, guys, with your help. So share the pod, like, comment, subscribe, follow Justin on all socials. Justin
I'm blowing
Keanu.
up right now. I'm blowing up.
Justin Keanu, right?
Yeah, my TikTok views are up like 300,000% in a week.
Thanks to you guys.
Yes, 100%.
And yeah, follow me on all socials at GageB10. That's it for this episode. We gotta cut this. Cam's about to die, so we'll catch you on the next one.